need to learn to get along with our fellow Jews and to find common cause, with our fellow Jews, and they teach it more on a national plane. So, for instance, I went to this great Reform temple for a while, or a Torah, and the Rabbi Mordechai Finley was just this great teacher of the inner life, and he was a great teacher of Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and there were a lot of psychologists and social workers and psychotherapists who would go to this shul, because he would always take these different aspects of Judaism and show how we can apply it to our own lives and how we can use it to achieve personal growth. And then other rabbis get up there and speak almost every week about Israel, and we need to fundraise for Israel, and we look at things like the 3 weeks through the prism of the modern state of Israel, and how can we build up security for the modern state of Israel. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm fine with either interpretation, because I'm just like this easygoing guy who's just got love in his heart for God, Torah, and Israel. So I don't take sides. I can go with personal redemption. I can go with national redemption. The one thing I cannot go for is when you call me up and say, let's bring Mashiach, and then appeal to my Yetzer HaTov, and then get me with my Yetzer Hara. I cannot take that.
I hear that.
I'm in so much pain.
Right. By the way, Ginger just entered the chat room. She says hello. So say hi to Ginger.
I don't engage in that.
All right. We got Ellen in there.
Oh, Ellen asked me a question. Oh, so Ellen is so erudite. Look at how beautifully she wrote that sentence. There are no misspellings. There's no bad punctuation. The grammar is perfect. This is why I like Ellen. So she says, Luke, have you seen the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? No. She says, I would find it interesting. It reviews various addictions in an interesting way. Okay, so I will have to look at that. What else does Ellen have to say?
She asked me some personal questions, and I'll answer them after the show.
Okay, you need to see the Tree of Life movie.
That's Ginger.
What's that?
I have no idea what either of those two things are. It's chicks. They watch different things than we do, because we're busy watching football
and studying Torah.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any opinions on the proper borders for the state of Israel? Because this week's Torah portion lays out what should be the borders.
Did you not listen to my whole rant? Were you so busy thinking about that chick?
No, you're not listening. You're not listening.
No, you didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to me. I just gave a whole rant.
You've given that rant many times.
I heard it. You tuned it in.
You're not listening.
I just gave you a whole rant. Okay, go ahead.
So even if the secular state of Israel has no religious significance,
right,
there are still 5 million Jews there, and what keeps them alive has significance, even if you hate Zionism. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe was no Zionist. The Lubavitcher Rebbe was opposed to Zionism, but for instance, he taught that it was forbidden for the secular modern state of Israel to give away any land, because it would risk the well-being, the lives of the Jews who lived in that part of the world right now. He said he'd give the same teachings for a Jewish community anywhere else in the world if it would endanger their well-being, their lives, their pekuach nefesh, the mitzvah of pekuach nefesh, saving a Jewish life, overrides pretty much all others except 3. And so the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was no Zionist, was opposed to Zionists, said this modern state of Israel, secular state, should not give up further territory, because that would jeopardize Jewish lives.
I actually agree with him on that. He and I have a similar view when it comes to
Judea and Samaria.
Judea
and Samaria, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip.
I thought it was Judea and Samaria. I thought it was 2 girls that you dated.
Please, my mind's on Torah.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, we're on the same page, because although that the secular state, the creation of the secular state of Israel clearly goes against the Torah. After the fact, the question is, what do? You got Jews living there, right? Should they hand it back?
5 million Jews. So
and I told you,
endangers their lives.
Miller said, what? It's like holding a dog by its neck. But last time I told you that, all you could think about was this girl digging her claws into your back.
But I still remember what you
okay.
told us about.
Okay, so yeah. So you don't want to let go of this dog because it'll kill you. So you can't just say to all the Jews, "Oh, we'll just give it back to we'll just give it to the Arabs," because they're going to kill you when you do. So that would be really stupid. Only a ignorant fool, liberal, would come up with such a stupid idea as to give lands back and think that, oh, that'll work, right? So we see that appeasing the enemy has not worked for the state of Israel since they've started, in 67, they went, or 73 in fact, they went all the way across the Suez Canal, they went into Egypt, right? They had the most amount of land that they ever had. They had the entire Sinai, they had the Suez, they had the Golan Heights, they had everything. And slowly, and it was all Israel. There was no West Bank or Gaza Strip. It was like a solid piece of map. It was all Israel. It had this huge base, right? And then they started giving pieces back in the name of peace. Oh, this will bring us a lot of peace. You know how many people have died? How many Jews have died since the time that they started handing back all this stuff? It's not brought them thousands. 16,000 Jews have died in the state of Israel in that time. Not nearly that many Jews have died outside the state of Israel, so it has clearly not brought them any peace. Giving back lands to your enemies doesn't work, folks. It's a stupid idea, and I thought it was stupid. I didn't like when that whole Camp David Accords with President Carter. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
78? I thought that was wrong. I was very disappointed to see that. I've been disappointed at the whole way through with the Oslo Accords, right? And then, well, why are they still talking about these things? It's proven to be a failure. They gave back Gaza, and they got rockets being shot over every day from Gaza. I mean, why are they even bothering anymore? Like, stop it already. Go reclaim the Sinai. I think that the state of Israel should go reclaim the Sinai right now while Egypt's in transition before it becomes like a total Al-Qaeda type terrorist state. They should go take control of the Suez Canal, go recapture all those borders. Don't let Iranian naval vessels through the Suez. Let Israel start, needs to stand up and be a man. Quit being a little girl. Quit being a weakling. Quit being a liberal. Stand up, eat meat, stand up for yourself, and fight. All right, go ahead, you.
It's so important to remember that the guy who said to you that he had a hard time concentrating on Rabbi Victor Miller's teaching about the mad dog because he was remembering that girl that was like a mad dog who just like dig her fingernails into my back. You
didn't hear a single word after that. You didn't hear a single word after that. You were just holding by that whole Orlando story.
I was giving her so much ecstasy that she was just like raking my back with a fingernail. So important that your sister remembered that I'm a different man now than I was then. When you were relaying that story and I was remembering that girl who raked my back like that. Now, that story about the girl raking my back is not such a big deal. It's practically forgotten.
Okay.
Because my mind's much more on Torah.
Right.
I'm free from the Egypt of my own sensual, filthy desires.
Yes. Okay.
I'm now like on this higher plane. And
right.
I think it's pretty obvious. So why does God set the boundaries for the maximum of the land of Israel, for a state of Israel? To tell the Jews not to conquer more, not creating an empire. Imagine if God had said there are no boundaries. People don't operate well without boundaries. And there's never been a state of Israel that has fulfilled the boundaries as enumerated in Numbers chapter 34.
Can I say something on that?
Mm-hmm.
I have a different shot.
Yeah.
It's called Eretz Kodesh. Kodesh means holy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Holy Kadosh comes from the Kadash, which the shorish of the word means separated.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be separated from all the other land. It's not that we're supposed to start off like a whole Jewish caliphate and like the whole world is going to become Jewish, and it's like, the capital of, is going to be in Jerusalem and everybody's going to be part of Eretz Israel. Right? It's like the Arabs, the Muslims. I'm sorry, the Muslims think, Mecca is like the center, and like we're gonna just like take over, and the whole world belongs to us. It doesn't work like that. God says the opposite. God says no. He says, we're gonna separate. We're gonna separate. We're gonna make it holy. What makes Israel holy isn't like special stuff